about that, folks? 100-58 the final in this one. Utah State gets the blowout victory. By the way, that's the largest victory for Utah State in Mountain West Conference play since they beat San Jose State by 48.
What, do you know what year that was?
Yeah, give me 2 seconds and I'll find that for you.
Heck of a game. Like I said, Saturday afternoon game right before Christmas. Obviously, it wasn't a barn burner, but it was a show. Is probably the best way to say it. It was entertaining. It was a show. Mason Falslove, MJ Collins come out to put on a show early on, but then I'll tell you what, Merriweather, Elamine, Drake Allen did a really, really good job. Yeah. Everyone contributing. Carson Templin going 2 for 2. Once again, I can never say anything about his three-point shooting because I lost a shooting competition.
Yeah.
To
Did you run?
I did. I ran.
Okay, good.
I ran.
Yeah, because
I ran. I deserved to run for that. I absolutely deserved.
By the way,
that
San Jose State game, this is how bad my memory is. That was just last year, February 19th, 2025.
Was it
105-57?
At home?
At home. Yeah.
I believe I was there as well.
Yeah. All right. So with Utah State getting the blowout victory, and again, 100-58. What an incredible performance by this team. It just, it's one of those nights where everything continues to go your way, and you take advantage of it. But the thing that I thought was really impressive is that they just never let Colorado State breathe in this game. It's one thing last year they got out to the big lead, and then Colorado State came back and made it a game. This time, Utah State never let the foot off the gas.
Yeah, I expected that pace, that pressure, that intensity to come down. It might have come down from a 10 to a 9.5 in that second half, but not much. And, you could tell there were guys that were excited to be playing. Elamine was excited to be playing, to be making plays. I love that Merriweather threw that pass to him to reward the big man for running. But, yeah, obviously it's helpful when you're up by 40, but they looked like they were enjoying playing at that level of intensity, that he wasn't having to pull anything out of them. It was more player-driven today is what it felt like.
Today's postgame brought to you by Farm Bureau agent Brandon Jensen. Contact him at 435-752-4800. It's your future. Let's protect it. All right, let's take a quick break. Come back. You'll hear from Jerrod Calhoun straight ahead on the Aggie Sports Network from Learfield.
When's the last time you checked your tires? Make sure your car is ready for the snow with Master Auto Tech special, buy 3 tires, get 1 free for up to $200 off. Utah winters are tough, but your tires should be tougher. With 22 Utah locations including Logan, Brigham City, and Ogden, we've got you covered. Hurry, this offer ends December 31st. Visit masterauto.tech today.
Your trusted, helpful expert, Master Auto Tech.
Happy holidays from the entire team at Adams Wealth Advisors. As we celebrate the joy of this season, it's also time to plan for a financially sound future. Wondering about tax strategies or required investment distributions? Adams Wealth Advisors has the answers. The Adams Wealth team is here to guide you through any complexities and ensure a prosperous new year. Happy holidays from Adams Wealth Advisors, where achieving your financial goals is their mission. Call today to schedule an appointment, 752-1702, or search Adams Wealth Advisors online.
There's no better way to ring in the new year than the Riverwoods Conference Center's unforgettable New Year's Eve buffet. Enjoy an evening filled with flavor and celebration that includes deliciously carved herb-roasted New York steak and blackened turkey, along with entrees like teriyaki salmon, spice-glazed ham, chicken, shrimp, and more. The Riverwoods will also have an endless choice of appetizers, side dishes, and tasty desserts. Reserve your New Year's Eve plans today at riverwoodsnewyeardinner.planningpod.com. That's riverwoodsnewyeardinner.planningpod.com.
Who do you turn to if you want to change out your wood or pellet stove? Advanced Fireplace and Stove. They were voted the gold medalist for Best of Northern Utah for the 5th year in a row in the fireplace retrofit category. Be ready when the government's next wood and pellet replacement incentives pop up. Advanced Fireplace can help you navigate the paperwork. For more information, call Advanced Fireplace and Stove, 752-7272. Online at advancedfireplaceandstove.com.
This Utah State Aggie broadcast is brought to you by Cache Valley Bank. Mountains await. Discover Cache Valley Bank on News Talk KVNU, the heritage home of Utah State sports.
Spencer Nilsson and Scott Jerrod as the head coach of the Utah State Aggies. Jerrod Calhoun set to join, and then Jerrod got caught over with somebody else.
Just going to say hi to a fan, saying what's up to a nice fan, signing an autograph. I would like you to have Coach Calhoun sign your shirt as well. I know you've been uncomfortable. You've wanted to ask him to sign your shirt, but you haven't felt. Do you want me to ask Coach for you? No. I know you're a little afraid to ask Coach that question, so I'm happy to ask him if you're afraid to ask him the question.
Hey, Coach, how are you?
What's up?
Hey, all right, so you came out of the gate on fire,
yep.
12-0 right out of the gate, and then, last year you got up big on Colorado State, and then they kind of came back in this game. You never let the foot off the gas. What do you attribute that to?
Well, I think we are a better defensive team. We have better athletes. We've been saying it all year. When this team's locked in defensively, we're really good. And then when your ball moves and you play for the jersey and not yourself, we've had a lot of hard conversations over the last 7 to 10 days, getting our mindset right, getting our preparation right, being about the right things. And tonight we put it all together.
And that's what I'm thinking. Whatever conversations you had, like it seemed in this game, I'm going to say it, but understanding it in the moment, it was player-driven in the moment. It didn't feel like you were having to pull it out of them in this game as much as other games. So I'm sure you pulled it out from them during the week, but the minute MJ Collins is at half court, just in the guy's grill, Mason's in the guy's grill, and you made Colorado State incredibly uncomfortable from the get-go. But it did seem like it was more player. Yeah. Like they wanted to do it, and especially Merriweather and Elamine, you could see there was some joy in grinding.
Yeah, I thought Adlin obviously looked unbelievable tonight.
Elamine.
His upside is tremendous. I thought Perryman. But Falstaff, I thought, really has set the tone over the last 7 to 10 days. He and I have had some good conversations. I know he's talked to a lot of the former players here in town as well. So it's a brotherhood here, right? There's a lot of people that have helped build this thing, and I want to make it clear to these guys that we're not here to screw it up. We're not here to be individuals. There's a legacy here, and I think the guys, if they continue to buy in the team, like I keep saying, the difference between last year and this year is our defense. We could be one of the best defensive teams in the country. So now you can win on both sides of the ball.
Everybody's going to look at that first, 5 or 6 minutes of the game and talk about, well, all the shots were falling, which was great. But to me, I mean, back to your point about defense, the tone was set defensively. That's where it really started.
I thought Coach Howard and Coach Hill, we had a great game plan, but we had a great week of practice.
Yeah.
When you have great practices, this is honestly the first time in probably 5 games the staff has went into the game knowing we're going to win the game, right, before the game starts. Typically you have a feel, you coach, you get it. There's nothing worse feeling than when you feel like you've had bad practices leading into a game. You can't sleep and so I felt really, really good about our chances in the game because of our week of prep.
One thing it just kind of hit me, and I'm really, really slow in it, but seeing the level of intensity and the pressure, but with the starting lineup that you had, maybe not as much rim protection, but MJ Collins has got to have a 6'8", 6'9" wingspan. Adlin at a 7-foot. Mason with a 6'6", 6'7" wingspan. It just felt like your length also with that starting lineup. I really like it.
Yeah, and the other thing, Spence, is that nobody has talked about is Zach Keller can move his feet, right? So, obviously they got a great coaching staff, not just their head coach, but they got a lot of years on that staff. They went small, and they played a small ball lineup, and we just had Zach out there switching ball screens, and he moved his feet.
He did.
The kid is he's getting better and better. We just got to get him a little more comfortable around the rim, finishing. And I even thought Drake Allen played a great game. I thought he really had some timely baskets. And when him, Mason, and MJ, and now Adlin, the 4th starter, set the tone defensively, we could be one of the better defensive teams out there.
Drake, that's the Drake that you see in the sense his intentionality and assertiveness in offense, right? Because we've talked about it. I love the way he moves, and I'm not gushing over him. I love the way he moves. He's athletic. He can go to the rim.
Big.
But when he feels confident to pull up from 3 and hit that open shot, he passed on the one on the baseline.
With 5 seconds.
Yeah, with 5 seconds. But the rest of it, assertive, and to me, that's a huge difference maker in the ceiling of this team.
There's no doubt. And then if you have Adlin that can make threes,
Yes.
now you've got 4 perimeters that are, really putting pressure on the defense. So, we wish we played in the next 2 days, right? This is a time that you play this good, you just want to keep playing basketball. But I think we all need a break. I think we're 20-2 as a staff before both breaks. It's pretty incredible, right? And Coach Sprinkle, I think, they only had 1 loss as well. So it's probably about 30-3 the last 3 years going into Christmas. So it's, I thought the crowd tonight or this afternoon was incredible. All the students that came, but you saw all the general public out there that bought these tickets. They made a lot of noise, man. We had everybody out of their seats today, and they had a big impact. So hopefully everybody make the trip to Boise. I'm making the trip to Ohio and West Virginia tomorrow.
Oh, good for you.
I'm going to go see my wife's side of the family and then see my side for 1 day. And then we'll be back here on the 24th because Santa will be coming to Providence. We'll be having our Santa tracker on the 24th.
Oh, I like
so
that. Coach,
2 days. I only get 2 days of rest.
And I will tell you, what a great way to go into the break.
Yeah, well,
like you said, we want to play, but it feels like, you've been wanting to get this out of him for weeks.
Mason made a joke. He goes, finally got 100, because last year we could sleep and get 100. So I think they saw the power of the pass, the power of the defense, and the power of the team. That's what Utah State basketball is about.
Well, Coach, have a Merry Christmas.
All right, guys.
Safe travels.
See you,
Merry Christmas.
I'll see you in 6-7 days.
You got it.
Yep.
There
You were there, you watched the game, or you heard it all here on KVNU. So now it's your chance to give your thoughts and ask your questions about the action as KVNU Aggie Game Day continues with Aggie Call. The phone line is 435-753-KVNU. The text line is 435-554-1175. It's KVNU Aggie Call with J.D. Walker and Stockton Jukes.
Festivus is on December 23rd, where you air the grievances. There are no grievances today, ladies and gentlemen. Call it a boat race, call it a slobber knocker, whatever you want. The Aggies handle business with a big win to open conference play. J.D. Walker, Stockton Jukes, here with you live in Cache Valley on this beautiful Saturday before Christmas, sitting about 47 degrees outside and sunshine and Stockton. All sorts of energy coming from the spectrum up there. You went up there. What was it like? We were worried a little bit about the students being gone. How would that affect? It sounds like the community, Cache Valley, and the Aggie family all showed up today.
Oh, I am so impressed with what I saw up there. We talked about it. Noon tip-off on December 20th for your conference opener is a tough draw, 100%. Not a great time. Athletics did as good of a job as they possibly could have done, getting that game covered, getting it marketed, getting it attended. And, aside from the fact that they had to shrink the student section by 4 sections to fit all the tickets that they sold into the building, it was about as loud as any other conference game. Obviously, there was a little bit of a noise reduction from that midcourt area where the students were not today. But all things considered, that was probably the best they could have done, and they did a great job getting people in the building. So definitely played a big factor in the Aggies not allowing a point for the first 5 minutes of the game. And then from there, it was just all downhill for Utah State. It was such a dominant performance. I don't think anyone finished below a 9 plus minus on the floor that got like regular minutes. So just what a great performance for them, and something I just put out on X a little bit ago. But I think this team's ceiling might be higher than we even expected it to be this year, because it was a slow start to the season. Very different from last year where we had multiple 100-point games to start off the season. I did not expect us to hit 100 against Colorado State of all teams.
I didn't think we'd see as much distance. 100-58. The game really never in doubt from the start. It was just the Aggies came out, and you heard Coach Calhoun. You hear it. He's rewarding guys that are giving everything in practice and then wanting to see that replicated. You heard Coach today, man. He sounds like Santa Claus. Like he sounds like he is happy with the performance. Sounds like he's going back to visit some family, take some time off, and What a way to send him out. Now, you said before, we were talking about, I said Drake, I think Drake comes back and has one of his games, and he definitely did with 2 steals, 6 assists, a couple rebounds, and 12 points, also 3 for 4 from the three-point land. But, man, you called it out in the beginning, Mason Falslev.
Yeah, what a dog that kid is. We talked a lot about him on Sunday and just like a lot of praise for who he is off the court, but on the court too, man. What an animal. 22 minutes for him, 18 points, 7 for 9 from the field, 2 for 3 from 3, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 turnover, and a block. That block was such an energy charge. That little stretch of defense that included Mason's block and a couple back and forth trips down the field, that was about the loudest the Spectrum got with about 12 minutes left in that game. That's the kind of energy that you need on your home court in these conference games, and I'm so impressed with what the energy was at the Spectrum, the noise volume, all that kind of stuff for December 20th at a noon tip-off.
To me, one of the highlights for the season is going to be Elamene's block.
Oof.
Well, I mean, I watched it. It was just, I posted Dikembe Mutombo vibes, but, he has got so much like fluidity and movement, and just watching the fact that that three-point shot was wide open. He closed the gap so quick. It was a really impressive performance, and you were there. What was it like when he made that block? It felt like the place just erupted.
Yeah, what's crazy, too, is that was just pent-up energy from when he missed the putback a couple minutes before that, because if he hits that dunk, the whole building was going to be leveled to the ground. It was going to crumble into ash because the way that Utah State played defense today just injected energy into the crowd from the floor because it was so physical. And I was coming into this game thinking this is probably the most physical game that these two teams have played yet this season, because for Colorado State, you mentioned in the pregame they haven't really played anyone tough since that Colorado game. Still won that game by 5. The South Florida game, they handled them by 15. Virginia Tech was a tough one. Denver was a tough one. Weird 2-point losses for them. But Utah State just looked like 2 different leagues out there tonight. It looked like Colorado State was playing up from like JUCO. It was unbelievable. So 42-point win, drop 100 on a team that their 2 losses are by a combined 4 points, and defensively you dominate a team that has not been allowing their opponents to score more than 70 points on average. That's a great output for Utah State. And again, just makes me think that this team is capable of so much more than we expected when they passed the ball as well as they did tonight. They took care of the basketball tonight, and that was such a huge reason that they went out and won by as much as they did. Their assist to turnover was 22-10 today. That's 2.2 plus in the ATO.
And a lot of talk about Colorado State being one of the top teams in the conference. I don't want to get too front of Santa's sleigh. I like to sit where it's comfortable next to the guy in the red suit and not be riding with Rudolph there. But it's kind of hard not to get excited for this team, especially when it wasn't really, me looking at it and saying Colorado State's this. I was looking at other prognosticators and other predictors from Mountain West coverage, and they were talking about this, and watching them, I could see it, and this was not expected. Like, I expected a win. I thought the Aggies would put it together. We've been waiting for a complete performance. Stockton, this is a complete performance.
Yes, this is the most complete performance we've seen not only this season, but in the Jerrod Calhoun era. And I genuinely think after that performance for Utah State, if you don't have Utah State at the top of the Mountain West right now, you're lying to yourself.
Yeah, I don't think you can really hold anybody. New Mexico playing well. Wyoming has been a great surprise. Of course, you can never count out Boise State. Grand Canyon, get out of here. I just,
Hey, man, we got to give them more credit.
Their school's named after a giant hole in the face of the planet, my friend. I'm good. At least they don't try to. At least it's not Grand Canyon State.
Yeah, well,
that could be rough. But now you've got to think the Aggies. It's a message sent across the Mountain West Conference, especially after come into the Spectrum and play. It's going to be a rough road for conference play coming into Logan.
This is not the team that you want to play basketball against probably for the next 3 months. There are a couple teams in the Mountain West that I think will give Utah State a run for their money in their own buildings. I'm really curious to see how San Diego State plays against Arizona tonight, but I do think that Utah State has probably leapfrogged San Diego State for that top spot in the Mountain West as it currently stands. Obviously, some of the teams in the Mountain West won't be starting their conference play for a little bit. Part of that has to do with the addition of GCU into the conference this year at the last minute. Part of that has to do with Utah State has a non-conference game on Valentine's Day, so their schedule got changed a little bit because of that. But I really think that Utah State is the team to beat in the Mountain West at this point in the season, and it couldn't be more clear after the box score that we're reading off. And we're going to go over the numbers here in a second. Just there's really not a category in this game that Utah State did not dominate.
Yeah, just complete domination from front to back. Coming back, we're going to take our first break here on Aggie Call. We'll hear from Jalen Moore up next. He'll give us his thoughts, and we'll get to the text line. Still time for you to get that in, 435-554-1175. That's 435-554-1175. What did you see from today's performance? You impressed? Was there something you saw that maybe you'd like them to improve upon? Let us know, 435-554-1175. We'll be back with Jalen Moore here on Aggie Call.
Les Olson IT is your source for top quality technology. We carry the latest desktop and laptop PCs in stock, configured to your specific needs, and backed by our award-winning support team. And if your business demands high-performance hardware, we offer custom-built computers that can tackle any task. We also offer great computer accessories like monitors, keyboards, speakers, Fujitsu document scanners, and more. Get a quote today.
Les Olson IT.
Thank you for letting Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat, the Allergy Clinic, and the Hearing Aid Center care for your family this year. Be sure to call us for an appointment before the end of the year to make the most of your cafeteria or flex funds. Located in Providence and North Logan, Cache Valley ENT also has offices in Box Elder, Rich, Bear Lake, and Franklin counties. The entire team at Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat wish you and your family a healthy holiday season. Go to CacheValleyENT.com for details. Most insurance plans, including Select Health, are accepted.
This is Ryan at My Mattress. We've been thinking about what you're going to get each other for Christmas, and we want to help out a little bit. Jewelry. The bling is cool, but didn't you do that recently? USU season tickets. No. Well, maybe. And if you do, call me. We'll go together. A hot tub. Yeah, they're cozy for 30 minutes, but let me suggest something that'll keep you cozy and supported and help your day go better. A mattress at My Mattress. The best time of the year to buy is right now. Come in today and sleep better tonight. The best Christmas gift possible.
Hi, it's Emily at Serenoni, and our holiday sale is happening now through December 22nd. Come shop in-store only and save up to 40% off select blankets and gifts. It's the perfect time to find gifts for everyone on your list, from babies to teens, grandparents, neighbors, and anyone who could use a little extra comfort this season. Because when you give a Serenoni blanket, you're giving more than a gift. You're giving warmth, connection, and comfort they'll reach for every single day. Shop our store on 10th West between iFit and Saitiva. Serenoni, wrapped in comfort, gifted with love.
Winter's here and that old car sitting in your driveway isn't getting any warmer. Turn that frozen junker into cold hard cash with DD Auto and Salvage in Logan. It's never too cold, too wet, or too late to clean up and cash out. DD Auto and Salvage makes it quick and easy. They'll even pick it up for you. Get the most money possible for your junk vehicle or scrap metal and earn a little extra holiday cash while you're at it. Call 787-1204. That's 787-1204. And let DD Auto and Salvage pay you today. DD Auto and Salvage. Cold cars turned into hot cash.
Oh, you gonna take me home tonight? Oh, down beside that red firelight. Oh, you gonna let it all hang out? Fat bottom girls, you make the rockin' world go round.
KVNU Game Day is back with Aggie Call. Call 435-753-KVNU or text 435-554-1175.
Welcome back to KVNU Aggie Call. J.D. Walker, Stockton Jukes with you as the Aggies put up 100 points on the Colorado State Rams, and Coach Calhoun makes it an Aggie December to remember, the Saturday before Christmas. Joining us on the phone, Jalen Moore, former Utah State Aggie, as we get to the text line. Jalen, first off, what are your thoughts on what you saw there?
Yeah, I mean, we looked really good. You know, we looked focused. We looked energized. We looked like we were coming out with energy and effort. The guys looked confident, shot really well. I mean, when you have about 6-7 guys in double figures, your offense is obviously clicking. You're doing something right. And when you hold a team, you know, under 65, 70 points, your defense looks good too. We out-rebound them by 20. Yeah, I don't know. Can't really play a much better game against a team that was going to be, you know, pretty solid coming in, that most people thought was going to give us a game. We went out there and put them away, honestly, early, right from the tip.
So we're going to jump into the text line real quick here. Jalen, we got about 10 stacked up here. You can get in and ask a question of what you saw today or share a comment or thought. 435-554-1175 up first, 0500. Having watched the game, I think the coach is having a hard time finding adequate minutes for all the players that deserve more. Even in a game like this, he has to still sit top players for a little longer. Still doesn't seem to me that there are enough minutes to go around. And then second part of this is not happy with the free throw shooting. It took about 8 minutes left in the game to get us past 50%. Most of the game we were under that. That part of the game is just plain unacceptable. On a bright note, three-point shooting was 100% for a while to start the game. 0500. Yeah, I get that. I feel it. But Jalen, do you feel like there's coaches struggling finding players minutes, or it seems like he's rewarding the guys that are giving the effort not only on the court in the games, but on the court in practice?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly thought the rotations and stuff looked pretty good today. Thought guys played well, thought guys looked healthy, thought they looked, like I said, energized and revamped. I was impressed. I like the rotation. I think he's found what he feels is pretty comfortable of a starting lineup, and guys that probably give you a little bit more production, like you said, off the bench or in practice and stuff like that, are going to be rewarded with some more playing time. And I thought the team looked really good today. I really did. I thought we just went out there and shut them out, and I thought a lot of our guys played to the level and the ability that they're capable of that we hadn't seen a ton all season, but we see a game where they played pretty solid for two halves. I agree, free throws could have been better, but I think everything else was pretty solid.
I'm personally one where if you win a game by 42 points and score 100, I'm going to let a bad free throw day roll off the back pretty easily.
Right.
Yeah, and it is an interesting point, too. For most of that game, outside of like the last 2 minutes of the game, Utah State had a better three-point shooting percentage than free throw percentage. Something Scotty brought up with like 3 minutes left in the game. I thought that was really interesting. But yeah, you put that many points up, you're going to be okay if you miss 10 free throws. You're going to be fine. Going back to the text line here, once again, 435-554-1175, brought to you by Advanced Fireplace and Stove. They can get you into a new heat and glow fireplace for much less than what you'd think. Find out more online at advancedfireplaceandstove.com. 4,400, Utah State Dreamer says if our Aggies play like this the rest of the year, Calhoun was serious about bringing a natty to Logan. Okay.
I'm not jumping that far in front of the cart yet.
Let's pump the brakes a little bit.
But I tell you what, if we put another 100 burger up on somebody on the 30th, I might be out there riding Rudolph saying, "No, let's do it." Like let's. I don't know. Can I? Well, I could bring down the backboard, but I'm going to need a ladder and some help. But
no, I think natty is a little bit out there, but I do think it is reasonable to say Utah State is the favorite to win the Mountain West at this point. I think that is not a very spicy take, especially after, the debate has been San Diego State, Utah State, Colorado State for the last couple weeks. If we do that to Colorado State, I think it's going to be hard for the rest of the league to compete with Jerrod Calhoun's Aggies for the next couple months.
And up next on the text line 9315, love how the coach kept the pedal to the metal, keep it going. How much will this margin of victory help USU in the ratings? No room for sportsmanship anymore. If you want a good C number in the big dance, it's kind of what he talked about in the metrics, and we've talked about it. You mentioned in KenPom the jump.
Yeah, they went from 40 to 29 after that game. So metrically, that's an excellent game, and it's kind of what we unfortunately had to spend a lot of time talking about on Sunday. When we didn't get, the win that we needed, we dropped a couple spots. We got a couple texts about people, sick of talking about the metrics, yada, yada, yada. Believe you me, I am too, but this is the nature of the game.
I'd rather talk about the matrix than the metrics, but that's where we find ourselves.
Red pill, blue pill, whatever.
Yeah, 2025, that's where we're at.
This is the nature of the game. We talked about it a little pregame too, but college sports is moving in a more professional direction. The college sports of the mid-2000s that I grew up watching, it's dead. It's not coming back. So it's the nature of the game, is how it's played. But Utah State, I think, is really in a good position to run the table in the Mountain West as we move forward. And I don't think that some of the projected competition for Utah State is going to be as challenging as we thought it was going to be.
Going to roll through a couple of these because they're just quick comments, but want to get to your thoughts. 435-554-1175. Jalen Moore, J.D. Walker, and Stockton Jukes with you here on Aggie Call. That text line, 435-554-1175 from 5294. Was that a game or a clinic? That was just what we needed. Good looks today. Jalen, having a game like this at home right before Christmas, a little bit of a break. How does that impact you as a former student athlete? Man, the guy's got to be feeling good after this one.
Yeah, you feel real good. Like I said, I thought we played really good. Everybody played well, shot well. We got bench production. The starters look good. We like a lot of people are out there talking about like Drake struggling. Like he looks good this game. Mason, MJ look good. I think guys are starting to figure it out. I think the game came at a perfect time for us to get a home game before Christmas break. And even better, you get a big win over a team that people thought were going to give you a game. I think our team is feeling great before the break. And I think it's just going to be something that just helps them stay energized and honestly just be refocused for after the break, and just want this feeling some more, of winning games, having a chance to win the Mountain West. I think we see our team steadily, going in the right direction, hopefully.
Yeah, I think just like Jalen said, we talked about it a little bit pregame too. Having a home game right before Christmas is just so beneficial for a lot of ways. But then to do what they did today with that game, I mean, they get 9 days off now. Next time we'll play is on the 30th. You get to sit on that win for 9 days. You can't really feel better about yourself as a basketball player than when you put 100 on your closest conference rival, have the biggest margin of victory against this team in 110 contests between the two teams, and walk away with your best three-point output of the season for a team that we have said time and time again is built from the outside in. We rely on that three-point shooting. It was as good as it's been today, and for them to be 6 for 6 from three with 9.5 to go in the first half, that was just so much fun to watch. It felt like a boat race for Utah State, and there's so many good things that happen there. Also, and another thing that I'm seeing, I didn't personally see him in the spectrum. I didn't move around that much, but I'm hearing on social media Rob Nielsen was cited in the spectrum today. So going off the transfer portal talks earlier, that's got to bode well.
Heard good news on that, but just want to check in. DNVR Rams, the podcast for Colorado State, their comments on the game, ton of empty seats for a sellout. I guess you have to focus on attendance when you get 100 put up on you. 9901 up next with a quick statement. There's no reason for CSU to be in the Pac-12. It's a money laundering front. Yeah, 9901, you just wait. I have so much on Coach Jim Mora, Jimmy boy, that's going to make football season a lot of fun. 0783 up next. The 12-0 run to start before CSU scored was even better than the 10-0 run to start CSU had against us at their place last year. The score through most of the game was pretty similar to the game against them last time, but reversed until that stretch run, the lead to 40 points, making it even worse than the game at their place. I think a little bit of revenge there to bring it out, but a good performance and definitely a new season for this team. 7911, one word, wowie.
Yeah, just wow. I don't think you can react to anything. Scotty said this. I was listening to him on my drive back over to the studio today, but he said just never saw it coming in a million years. I think I said it was going to be 74-67 today.
Yeah,
something like that.
I had a 10. I had an 8 point. I was like 82-74, but I get burned. When I ride that optimism train.
Well, I got all excited about, maybe we'll put 100 on Montana State, and then they barely won that game. Yeah. So, Utah State's playing a lot of basketball that goes the complete opposite of how we expect it to go. But for the most part, it's working in their favor. So not much to complain about there. I also, if we're throwing a little bit of shade at Colorado State, I got to throw this in there. I saw this tweet while I was over at the Spectrum. But a friend of mine and someone that Aggie Twitter knows well said Colorado State won one time in a revenue sport, and we decided to treat them as athletic peers. Just going back to that Pac-12 text with Colorado State. But, yeah, we really kind of let that one good year in basketball they had go to our heads. Colorado State's been a powerhouse in volleyball in the Mountain West for a long time, but other than that, they've been kind of a doormat. So I was having this conversation with some family members at the Spectrum today, but it feels like the Pac-12 for the first couple of years is going to be a very top-heavy basketball league between Gonzaga, Utah State, Boise State, San Diego State, and then everyone else is just going to kind of be trying to keep up.
You know, and also thinking about it, I think they were brought into the Pac-12 for their expertise, their top-notch elite chef skills. preparing Rocky Mountain oysters. 0891 up next here on the text line. Do you know what Rocky Mountain oysters are?
Oh, unfortunately, I do.
Okay, well, that's... I'll try my dad jokes next time. 0891, statement made. I'm thinking this game opened the eyes of a lot of teams in the league. Colorado State is a good team. I'd be worried to play this team, especially in the Spectrum. Jalen, what do you think? I thought this kind of sends a massive message from this team across the conference, but what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree. I think that was like one of the best performances we've had all season so far. And gosh, the Spectrum wasn't even fully packed, how it will be once January, February, stuff like that hits and we look really good. So I think that's a bar that we set pretty high for ourselves and something that we can do game in, game out. But like you said, we're going to have the target on our back. We're going to get a lot of teams' best shots, so there's going to be a couple games where we're going to have to weather some storms, all that kind of stuff. But I think if we play like that, if we pass the ball like that, if we rebound, if we play defense and energy, get bench production like that, we're going to be probably the team in the Mountain West that's the hardest team to beat. I truly think so.
Jalen Moore, J.D. Walker, and Stockton Jukes here on KVNU's Aggie Call. We're taking it to the text line, 435-554-1175. Up next, 6543. Stockton, I'm going to have you kind of look at this one. Looks like there's one contender and everyone else is pretenders in the conference this year. How do we battle tested for the NCAA with this conference if it sucks?
Well, let's go back to that last text, right? Colorado State's not a sleeper team. They played their worst basketball game of the season today, and I think a lot of it is because you decide to play Jorgensen at the last minute, and then he goes out probably for the season 5 minutes of the game.
It looked really bad.
Just a quick update on that. He was in a very fat brace and on crutches at the end of the bench in the second half. So it looked like something that's going to be a multi-month recovery. I don't think he'll play basketball for the rest of this season. Which is really unfortunate, but you got to take that into account. You got to take a really poor shooting performance, uncharacteristically poor shooting performance for Colorado State today. They were halfway through the first, they were shooting 20% from three. As a team, they average 45% from deep, and today it was nowhere near that mark, 30% as a team when all was said and done. So,
but I think this conference is a lot stronger.
The conference is stronger than we thought it was at first. That being said, I think a lot of the misconception right now for Utah State, we're better than we were last year, which is hard to believe, but we're significantly better than we were last year. Calhoun's system has really sunk in. The matchup zone today looked so much better than it has basically since Calhoun showed up in Logan. And it's starting to really pay off in the turnover column. I mean, Utah State, 22 assists as a team, only 10 turnovers. Only allowed 9 assists for Colorado State and generated 15 turnovers off the rim. So that's really starting to set in as well. I think the Mountain West isn't going to be as competitive as it was last year because Utah State has taken a step up, and some of the teams that were in the picture last year have taken a slight step down. That being said,
UNLV,
it's not a huge step down.
Yeah, UNLV is now a Wish Temu team. I mean, it's just watching them fall apart left and right. Up next on the text line, a couple more texts to get in here before we let Jalen go. 8968. Never in all the years have I seen an Aggie team dominate Colorado State in that matter. I'm glad to be so far off of my prediction. I think we're all there. 2584. Allen's been struggling, but watching him confidently take the threes when a defender went under the screen will pay off. His teams have to be ready for that. What did you see in Jalen? What did you see in Drake's performance today? I was impressed. Kind of a bounce back for him after a couple rough games.
Yeah, definitely. Like you see a different mindset. You see the confidence is back. He shot the shots when he was open like he should have been. I thought he was just his decision making. He was making decisions quicker. He was being more of a leader. He's being the athlete that we're used to seeing. And like I said, it's kind of crazy. It's just the ebbs and flows of a season. There's a lot of ups, there's a lot of downs. A couple games he was struggling, and he comes back home. Probably spent a lot of time in the film room, a lot of time getting shots up, a lot of time that a lot of people don't see him putting in, to come back out and perform like this. And I thought he's another reason why we end up having a big win, and we have guys that can help Mason and guys that can help MJ. And we had, 4 or 5 of them in double figures with them. Obviously, our team's going to be way better, and I think Drake just plays the game at a better tempo when he's not overthinking and he's just taking what the game gives him. And I think that's what I saw from him tonight is just nothing forced, nothing like that. He just took what the game gave him.
Up next on the text line here on Aggie Call 1107, two things. Elamine is getting so much confidence. We love to see that. What an amazing block. Yeah, that was I love defensive basketball, and watching him cover, that area makes me wonder if he could play cornerback or free safety or something like that. He was everywhere. And one of the things I've noticed watching the games in person is this coming from 1107. There are so many cool pairs of shoes worn by the Aggies. Hot pink by Clark, bright yellow by King, gold by Elamine, teal by Perriman, purple by Templin, glossy navy by Falslev, and light pink by Keller. New shoes always make me feel on top of the world. I think it was the case for the Aggies. I think the shoe game's kind of cool to watch. I can't pull it off, Jalen, but noticing like some of the shoe game that the guys have, has that changed from your day to today? It seems like there's so many more options out there for gear to wear.
Yeah, I think there's more colorways and more options, and just more guys getting signature shoes and stuff like that. So they have a few more options and stuff.
All right, I think Jalen, are you there?
Yep. Can you hear me?
All right. Yeah, I think I got you back there.
Okay, cool. No, I was just saying, I like all the different colorways and shoes that they have. And a lot of guys have signature sneakers and stuff like that they can choose between. And I approve of it, because like when I played too, I always wanted to have cool shoes, have a nice little shoe game, wear some Jordans, wear some Kobe's. So I'm glad I'm seeing the same thing from some of these guys. I've always been into like having some cool shoes, so I approve of it for sure.
I think the style on the court and stuff is kind of cool to see, and it keeps going. And it's something that, for me, my son Jeremy and I will talk about it after the game, the shoe game. So it's kind of cool to see it. And then the signature shoes, of course, with NIL and stuff. So it's really awesome to see the athletes be able to express themselves a little bit like that. Up next, 8387, Perryman and Elamine. That's it. That's the text. Yeah, they were pretty amazing today. That there was a pass. The dunk that almost took the top off the spectrum, Perryman. I mean, I was telling Stockton, there was a small triangle, Jalen. And what I love about Perryman is some of the vision on his stuff. It hasn't quite fully refined yet in his game, but he has this vision. He shot the ball through this triangle and got it right to Elamine. And the dunk, it didn't finish, but man, I tell you, the court vision from this young man, it's something special.
Yeah, and as they play more and get more experience and stuff like that, they're just going to get better. And you can see it. They're getting more comfortable. They're getting more confident. They're figuring out, the speed of the game, the strength of the game. They're figuring out their roles, their athletic abilities, and they look good. I think Elamine's figuring out, hey, I can get a lot of transition baskets playing defense. I can get some energy playing defense, rebounding the ball. He crashes the O-boards hard. Perryman, he can score, but he can pass the ball. He can facilitate. I think they're going to be two very crucial guys that take our team, with MJ, with Mason, with Gary Clark. You always need some of those guys, those role players that are going to be there every night out. And I think these two freshmen are starting to figure it out, and I like what I'm seeing from them.
All right, I think we got one more text on the text line, and then we're going to let Jalen go, and we'll hear from Coach Calhoun's post-game presser.
Yeah, one more here, 6863. This is the best gift Santa Calhoun could have brought me. That's about as good of a bow to put on it as anything else. I just floored by the performance for Utah State today. Really excited for what this means for the Aggies going forward, for the ceiling. I feel like is shot out of the sky right now for Utah State, just so much higher than we thought it would be. It's a great way to go into Christmas break. Great way to take 9 days off of a 100-point win.
Absolutely. Jalen, any final thoughts before we let you go, my friend?
Just like you said, I'm excited for the season. I think that's a great start to the Mountain West. And I'm just excited to see where the guys go. The team you can see is getting better. You can see obviously that the film, the practices, all that stuff is paying off. So I'm excited for the season. Hopefully another, Mountain West championship for our Aggies.
All right, Jalen, you enjoy Christmas with that new addition.
Yeah, thank you. You guys too.
All right, Jalen Moore joining us here on Aggie Call, brought to you by Renaissance Ranch. If you or someone you know struggles with addiction, don't find it alone. Learn more at renaissanceranch.net. And Serenoni, looking for a gift for a friend or a loved one? Serenoni is your locally owned, sourced for perfect gifts for any reason. Now at their new location on 10th West by iFit. And my friend, it is time now to hear from Mr. Coach Calhoun's post-game presser. It's the largest, highest margin of victory against Colorado State in the series' 87-year history at total meetings of 110 as the Aggies take down the Rams 100-58. Here's Coach Calhoun's post-game comments here on KVNU's Aggie Call.
Coach, if you just want to hold thoughts on the game.
I thought, first of all, hopefully their big fella's okay. Jorgensen, he is, in my opinion, one of the most improved guys in the country. So things changed drastically game plan wise when he was out. But I felt really good going into the game. Thought we had a great week of prep, and our kids played lights out.
You say you play like you practice. You must have had some really good practices because that start was really good. And maybe that was probably your most complete game this year.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of factors in this, right? We've had a lot of conversations about playing for the uniform, not yourself, sharing the ball, honoring the past, the history. I think all the great programs out there have a history of great teams. With every team, there's roles. Guys have different roles. I think what happens in college basketball now, everybody transfers because they don't like their role and they think it's going to be a significant jump. And you got to play to your strengths. That, to me, is what your role is. And I thought tonight, guys played their part, they played their role, but they did that throughout the week, and they were rewarded by their hard work.
You're trying to sell that when you're talking to the guys about that. How important is it that you can point to the general public showing up like they did today and say that, that's what this place kind of means?
Well, it's a different deal around here. I've said it all along. There's very few men's basketball programs in the country on a Saturday afternoon at noon with no students can sell the place out, right? How many people can say that consistently? How many people can say that they have one of the best, if not the best, student section in the entire country? So our guys are well aware of that, what this community does for our team, the way they've stepped up, right? The Jim Lobs, the Jonathan Bolins, the Tom Willises. This roster would not be together. Ken Alder, if we didn't have the help from some donors, right, and different people that really cared about our team. So, we're 20-2, I think, now before the break in 2 years, and I think Coach Sprinkle only had one loss. So you're thinking it's about 30-3, if I'm not mistaken. That's pretty good 3-year run. But before that was Ryan Odom, pretty good run. Before that was Craig Smith, and obviously Stu. So my message to our players is it's bigger than any of us. We have to honor those teams, and we're not going to screw it up. And I thought tonight we really, really shared the ball, and we showed we can be one of the best defensive teams in the country. And if we guard like that, we'll have a shot.
Your defensive intensity has been good. You played good defense, but I thought that first half.
Yeah, I mean, they're hard to guard. I told him in a handshake line that I wouldn't overreact. He's a great coach. He's got veteran guys on that staff. Dave Filipovich, I've known for 25 years. He was Richard Pitino's, assistant for a number of years at New Mexico. I think when Jorgensen went out, that played a big part. But I think a lot of credit goes to our guys, right? And Colorado State has beat good people. They beat South Florida, so when you guys asked earlier in the week, does that affect anything, right? Because we lost to them, they beat them. You see today is a prime example of every day is a journey, right? Every day has a different chapter. And today's chapter was about the right things, and it was about team.
I want to ask your thoughts on kind of the rebounding, because some teams, they miss a lot of shots in the game. They can get a lot of offensive rebounds. You guys shot 64%, and you still grabbed 16 offensive rebounds. Have you ever seen a game like that where you're able to dominate the boards like that?
No, I mean, I think Jaden just told me that this was the largest defeat in the history of this series. You got to dominate in all facets, right? To be able to score 100 and only give up 58, you got to make shots. You got to get turnovers. You got to rebound. I didn't pay attention to that at all, Jason, throughout the game. That's a pretty staggering difference in rebounding, 40-20. Credit to our guys. I thought Adlin, Darren Collison, the announcer there from CBS, great player at UCLA, a part of those unbelievable teams, said he's just a difference maker, right? You see his length and size and his athleticism. I thought Drake Allen was spectacular. And then, they're smart. They went all guards and they tried to, just run pick and rolls. And I think the unsung hero sometimes is Zach Keller, right? He can move his feet. He can keep people in front. That's what a good defense has to have, not just 4 perimeters, but Zach Keller did a great job as well moving his feet.
Adlin, were you surprised he's able to get that block in the corner in the first half?
He's got those go-go gadget arms, like back in the day, that character. He makes some unbelievable plays at practice that you just kind of shake your head at. But he's only going to get better. And he had a great week of prep. There's times in games I'm calling things out. He's looking at me like I got, 2 different faces, or, he messed up a few things. So I've got to live through some of their mistakes, him and EP. But there was a list that came out. I'm not sure if the guy from Nevada wrote it or somebody wrote it this week. And he listed about 17 different freshmen, and neither one of my guys are on the list. And they're both in our rotation on a 10-1 team. So whoever wrote that, hopefully they see now how good Adlin is and how good Elijah Perryman is.
How about Falslev just starting out with that 12 points early, and then, you get Collins come in and back him right?
He likes Colorado State at the spectrum. He did the same thing last year, to be honest with you. He came out on fire, made shots. It's weird, but he's done, forget his play, he's done a really good job over the last 2 weeks taking ownership of the team. This is a role that is different for him. He had Darius Brown 2 years ago. He had Ian in an older group last year, and now he's kind of the guy that's got to own some of the legacy here and the history of this program. And I think that's why he's playing well. I just told his mom that he's taking more ownership, and you hear his voice throughout every huddle and every practice. But yeah, he was spectacular.
What'd you tell your team at halftime? We were already up by 21, and then you.
Well, we were last year too. I mean, so like the 5 returning guys were really vocal about it. Where did we jump in Ken Palm?
29, I think.
Yeah. So when you blow teams out, your numbers look great. So our guys know, like, we need to beat everybody we can. If we have a lead, we can't call anything off. That's the way the analytics world works. And so that means we jumped 11 spots after one game, right? You're in that top 30. You got real wins, right? I think we're 3-1 now against quad 1 and quad 2. We need Davidson to stay there. We need Illinois State to stay there. But, our resume is as good as anybody in the conference after 11. But we know we have 20 more games. We have 10 more weeks of basketball. And the last thing we need to do is sit around and read our clippings. But I think this is something to build on.
So you got Christmas in there. Is this a bad time then to have a?
Yeah, I wish we played tomorrow. I wish all the fans that were here we could play in about 2 or 3 days. No, I think our guys need it. We're coming back the night of the 26th. So a lot of them are flying out here in the next 3 to 4 hours, if not early tomorrow. They'll have, 5 full days. We'll practice 26. We'll get moving, be a no contact type practice. And then you have 3 or 4 days to get ready for Fresno on the road. Vastly improved. And then 10 weeks of basketball. It's crazy.
You mentioned the game last year, the Spectrum, where you're up, and then you travel. I mean, out of the 3 games you played against Colorado State, 5 of those halves were particularly great. But did you guys kind of, at least the returners, you feel like they kind of remembered last year?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think they did. And I think that's why they talked a lot, Jason, at halftime. But, there's been a lot of blowouts in these games, right? Like they blew us out twice last year. It's kind of wild, like they came out last year in Fort Collins. I think we were down 20-2. It was incredible. So you don't want to be, ever get too high, too low. But you have to build. You have to get kids confidence. And there's not a guy in that locker room after that group performance that they now kind of see what, if everybody buys in, what it could be.
I want to mention Kobe King.
Yeah.
Really, really good game off. I mean, it ends up winning more games for you.
Yeah, he doesn't miss. Great shooter. Wish he knew and could remember some of the actions better. He's got to really pick that part up. But he's a scorer. Gives you another ball handler. He can break pressure. Great athlete. And more importantly, he's a great kid. His job is to get 10 or hopefully 12, and some nights you might get 20, 25, and I think he's one of those guys that had struggled a little bit with role identity. Just go in and shoot the ball, man. You play for me, you have the green light, 10 toes on the basket, shoot it. And everybody always says, well, we recruit these guys and see all these comments. Oh, he's a 31% three-point shooter. He's a 32% three-point shooter. When you spend time with guys and you give them confidence, they're going to make shots. Colby's going to make shots. MJ's going to make shots. Drake tonight made shots. Mason's numbers will go up. I think he's like 32.5 from three. It's about, the relationship piece and then having the confidence. So Colby's a guy that I've spent a lot of time with in my office, having a lot of conversations. And he's going to get better and better. Yeah, he's a great rebounder.
Coach Calhoun's post-game comments after the Aggies handle business up at the Spectrum. A little early Christmas present to the Aggie family, 100-58 over the Colorado State Rams. As we wrap up with some of our final thoughts here on Aggie Call on KVNU, Stockton Jukes, and I'm J.D. Walker.
Taking it back to the KVNU text line one more time, 435-554-1175. If you want to drop in your thoughts over Christmas break or get an early score prediction in for that Fresno State game in 10 days, text us at 435-554-1175, brought to you by RE/MAX Peaks. They know that the right agent can lead the way. And, of course, brought to you by Cafe Sabor. Experience Cafe Sabor at a location near you. Island Park, Idaho Falls, Rexburg, Bear Lake, Layton, Cedar City, and St. George. A big shout-out to 8775 for winning our score prediction and the $25 Cafe Sabor gift certificate this afternoon, purely by virtue of having a double-digit differential and the highest point total, because, man, that was an unexpected win for Utah State. But just I couldn't be happier with that. Let's go through some of these numbers before we say farewell for the afternoon. 18 for Mason Falslev, leading the way, 7 for 9 from the field, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 fouls, a turnover, a block, and 22 minutes for the mayor. 15 points from MJ Collins and Adlin Elamine. That's a career high for Adlin. 6 for 9 from the field, 1 for 3 from deep, 2 for 2 from the stripe. 8 rebounds for him, including 3 on the offensive glass. No assists, 3 fouls, no turnovers, 1 block. And really just a dominant game for Utah State up and down the floor. I mean, when you compare some of these team stats, 64% from the field for Utah State, 37 for Colorado State. That's 37 for 58 for the Aggies, 18 for 49 for the Rams. Terrible shooting night for them, and way uncharacteristic. 14 for 24 from the free throw line is probably the only stat that you can look at for Utah State and say, not a great game, but only 10 turnovers, forced 15. 27 points off turnovers to just 11 for Colorado State. JD, that's a stat that you picked out in pregame and said, hey, let's take a look at that. And boy, oh boy, was it skewed. 40 rebounds for Utah State to 20 for Colorado State. That is a Stu Morrill rebounding performance right there. That's the big man's got to be happy with that thing. 19 second chance points for Utah State, 36 off the bench, 48 in the paint. Just crushing offensive and defensive numbers for the Aggies tonight against a very good Colorado State team. So I am very excited for what the Mountain West has in store for Utah State this year.
And then I was thinking about some other things, that turnover over points, and it just seemed the energy was there from the get-go. It seemed like there was...
I mean, you don't allow a team to score for 5.5 minutes. Yeah, that's... oof.
I think it was at the 12-minute mark, the TV timeout there. That is the best basketball, 8 minutes of basketball that I've seen the Aggies play this whole time. I've covered them for 2 years now. That's the best performance.
I'd say the first 8 minutes of the first half and the first 10 minutes of the second half, some of the best hoops that I've seen played in the Spectrum.
I got one more. Looks like we got another text in 0741 listening in as we start the drive to Boise. What a great win for the Aggies. Now on to beat the Cougs. Yeah, we're going to actually take a little bit of a break. And then Monday, my friend, it'll be a marathon. I start here on the Valley's Morning News at 6 a.m. and probably we'll be wrapping up somewhere around 6 p.m. But 0741, safe travels for you guys as you head on down to Boise to check it out. I know they've got a lot of events going on. I saw the press conference going on with the guys, and we'll have all the game coverage for that as the Aggies go bowling Monday at 10 o'clock right here on KVNU.
Preview, man. I'm excited for that. I think it's going to be a great matchup. Oh, we've got one that we got to throw in here for your sake, my man. 6001 says, go Seahawks. What a Thursday night. My roommate, Todd, one of my really good friends, he's a huge Seahawks fan. We were jumping up and down and screaming at the house.
It was funny. I turned it off because I was getting frustrated, and I had to stop.
Text you.
Yeah, Stockton texted me, and he said, and I told him I'd turn it off because I'm frustrated. Like, the only team I'm going to allow control my happiness that much is the Aggies, because we're here all the time. I'm not going to let the Seahawks do that to me anymore. Turned it back on. My heart health up, down, left, right. But that 2-point conversion, man, gave me Fail Mary vibes from a couple years ago. But that was an incredible game. But we had a great time today. Hey, my friend, I was under the weather today. You've been doing a lot of the heavy lifting. I really appreciate you helping me out today on this stuff because I feel like dog water. I think.
Hey, man, I just like to hear myself talk. So,
well, we're going to wrap it up here. Thank you guys so much for all your interaction on the text line. I love you guys checking in. We will talk to you on Monday for Aggie Bowl game here on KVNU.
And then we get a week off.
Yeah.
Finally.
It'll be the 30th before we talk again. Fresno State, and the Aggies go on the road just before New Year's Eve. And you don't want to. You play the games, but the Aggies heavy favorite going into this. Fresno State not looking very competitive, but we want to see the Aggies continue just step on the snake, so to speak.
Yes, this does not need to be the ceiling for this team. This needs to be the highest step on the way to the ceiling this season, and I think that's where we're at right now. I think that ceiling has exponentially risen from 3 hours ago. This team could do so much more damage, not only in the league but in the NCAA, and maybe into the tournament. If they can keep consistency and keep shooting like this consistent, then, man, we've got a dangerous basketball team in Logan.
I am really hoping that this is the launching pad for the talent of this team. I feel like there's a base here. We've been waiting for it. Coach Calhoun's made some comments about, hey, there was some things about waiting for this team to get the check. Like they, hey, you guys need to stop listening to this and that and just do your work on the floor. Really feel like we're seeing that now with this team.
Yeah, I feel like this is the best performance that we've seen out of a Jerrod Calhoun-led Utah State Aggie basketball team in the 40-something games now that we've had Calhoun at the helm, probably 45 now after the 11th game of the season. So I'm really looking forward to the potential for this team because it feels higher right now than it has at any point in the last 2 years that we've been covering this team.
I agree, my friend. Go have fun. The Jukes family in town. Stockton's going to have fun with the family. I'm going to go home and fall into a coma for a couple days before I'm back with you on Monday. Thanks for tuning in and hanging out with us. Hope you have a great rest of your Saturday. It's 47 degrees and sunshine out in Cache Valley. Have a good one. That A is blue. We'll talk to you next time here on KVNU Aggie Call.
Utah State broadcast has been a presentation of News Talk KVNU and the Cache Valley Media Group, the heritage home for the Aggies.